So someone was just asking me, shouldn't it be 28.2? Because the decimal you get is 28.18202020. Recurring, right? No. The answer is no. N is actually always a natural number. Why? Because n represents the number of terms. I can't have a fraction of a term. That doesn't make sense. Do you understand that? N is the number of terms in my sequence or series. I can't have a fraction of a term there. Do you understand that? If not,
What do you say? Repeat again.
someone was
The
asking,
last part.
when you do all this and put it into a calculator or whatever, you'll get a decimal. You wouldn't just get flat 28. You would get
I got
28.
28, 2, then 11.
Well, I'm getting 28.18, 20, 20, 20, 20. Recurring, right? So you're asking, why can't it be 28.2? Because n is the number of terms in my series or sequence. And you cannot have a fraction of a term. Just like, no, you have to round it down to 28. For example, like, in primary school, you'll have a question like, I know, like, it always had a question on pizzas for some reason, and how many students could get how many of a pizzas or whatever, or how many students could fill this room, and you might get a fraction, let's say 19.1, but you can't have a fraction of a child, meaning that the maximum number of children that could be in that room is 19, because you can't have a fraction of a person. Even if you had 19.9, you have to round it down to 19, because you can't have a fraction of a person, and you can't round it up to 20, because the maximum capacity of that room could only fit 19 people. Do you understand that? Just like, yeah.
Yes, miss.
Yeah. Nice. So it's just like that. Can't have a fraction of a 2. Okay. So I change that to 28. So this is the part of paper we're doing now. You could write it down if you want to, but you should write it down. Paper 2, 2012, number 2, part C. So look here. Yes. So like I told you before, see this topic, series and sequences, they love to bring the questions like this with the money and annual salary, starting salary. So don't be surprised if you see a question like this. They always bring it like this. They would really ever give you a question that's very straightforward. It comes like this with money and all that, right? So read your question and underline the key information. A customer repays a loan monthly by increasing the payment each month by X dollars. So this right here, X dollars, this would be D. If the customer repaid $50 in the 5th month, meaning this 50 is T5, and $70 in the 9th month, meaning that this 70 is T9, calculate the total amount of money paid at the end of the 24th month. So you see, when you get this word total, that implies that you're using this S of N right here. Total, S of N. Go for that formula one time. At the end of the 24th month, what does that mean? So I already know to find the total, I need to use S of N. But what's my N? N. They asked me for the end of the 24th month. So that means I'm looking for S24. Everybody good with that so far?
Yes, miss.
Yes, Miss.
Okay, so let's start. Would you like to try? Actually, no. Time is almost up. Can't do that. Okay, remember structure. We saw examples like these. When you're given a question formatted like this, so you get the term and the value. Remember, make two equations. Find your A and D. So let's erase. Actually, twice please. Yes. Formatted like this, make it two equations. So T5 is 50. T9 is 70. Making my two equations. This from my general equation, let me just write the general equation. Tn is equal to A plus n minus 1b. So this is A, because remember, we need to find A and B before we could do anything, right? That's the purpose of making these two equations and solve it simultaneously. So A plus n minus 1. N is 5 minus 1, D. And they told me that's 50. Second equation, A plus n minus 1, n is 9 minus 1, D. D is equal to 70. Simplify equations. Yeah, so simultaneously to find A and D. So A plus 5 minus 1 is 4, D is equal to 50. So that's my first equation. And then this one is A plus 9 minus 1 is 8, D is equal to 70. That is my second equation. And from the example that I showed you on the PowerPoint for the AP, when you're trying to find A and B, you would solve these two equations simultaneously to find your A and D. Can you try doing that for me? Solve them simultaneously, so you can use substitution or elimination to find A, which is the first term, and D, the common difference. You could message me privately when you get the answers. Yeah, that's correct. I'll give you like 1 more minute for anybody who didn't send me yet. Correct. Hold on. Back. Okay, like 2 more seconds. Okay, so the answers are A is actually this. Check that again. How'd you get 15 and 3.2? You want me to go through it? I wish Troy. Troy. Wait, yes, he's here. Yes. Okay. Troy, you getting through? Are you alive?
Yes, miss. I'm still. I don't really understand.
Okay. Let me go to the Blackboard thing. Black screen. Okay. So we have two equations. We need to solve them simultaneously. That is how we would get our values for A and D. So my first equation was A plus 4D is equal to 50, equation 1. And I also had another equation, A plus 8D is equal to 70. That's my equation 2. So we're solving these simultaneously. You could use substitution or you can use elimination. Let me use elimination because, I mean, why not? If you want me to use substitution after, well, okay. So I want to cancel my A's, aka eliminate the A's. So what would I do to these two? I would subtract, because A minus A would help me to cancel them, right? So A minus A is 0, 4D minus 8D, that's minus 4D. And then 50 minus 70, that's minus 20. So this is the new equation I'm working with. I need to find D. Divide both sides by minus 4, minus 20 divided by minus 4 would give me a positive 5. Now that I have my value for D, positive 5, I could actually take this value, substitute it into one of my equations to find the value of A. Let me just use the first equation. So that's A plus 4 by D, which is 5, is equal to 50. Then let's just, anyways, A would be, this is 20, right? Actually, let me answer the whole thing. Because I don't want to confuse anybody. And I'll do it in a different color. So looking up here now, simplifying this a bit. 4 times 5 is 20. So this would become A plus 20 is equal to 50. Subtract 20 from both sides. So A is equal to 50 minus 20, which is 50. And that's how I got A is 30 and D is 5. Do you understand that? Oh, I see what I did. I accidentally multiplied the equation by 2 to get A, D, and we just cancel the E. Yeah. I mean, it is possible to do that, right? Multiplying by 2, but that's just wrong. So yeah, you could just cancel the E's. Glad you know where you went wrong. Troy,
Oh, I see when I went wrong. I
where
see.
did you go wrong?
So I didn't know it's about minus it. 50
Huh?
and 70. I didn't know it's about minus it.
Well, you didn't have to. That's just using the elimination. You could also use substitution, but that would just be long. It's only possible, but it would be longer. Just want to know where you went wrong, right? Most important. Okay. Well, since I'm already on this black screen, let me just continue here. So now that we know
So the answer is 30 and 30.
30 and 5.
5.
Yeah. And I have no undo button.
Oh.
Do you understand how?
Wait, how you get a 5?
Oh,
Oh, D. Oh, yeah. I get it. I see.
because there is no undo button, so I would have to write
Yes,
it.
yes.
Okay, good. So they asked, let me go ask the question. So they asked the total amount. See the minute you see that word total, you know for sure, they're referring to this SN thing. What is N? What's the value of N? Well, they asked for the end of the 24th month, 24. So I'm really trying to find S24. Back to the black screen. S24. Since this is an AP, we know the formula to find the sum of the first n terms is Sn is 2 n on 2, this little curly bracket thing, 2a plus n minus 1 by d, close your bracket. I want S when n is 24. I already have my a and my b. All I need to do is substitute these values. So S 24 would be 24 on 2. So instead of putting the n, I replace it with 24. In my bracket, 2a, I know a is 30. So okay, plus n minus 1, I know n is 24. So that's 24 minus 1. D, 5. 55. That's it. Simplify. Can you tell me what answer you get? It's in dollars, right?
I got $2,100.
$2,100. Good job. Anybody not getting this?
Oh, I got it as well.
Good. Yes, good. So everybody got it? Good job. That's it. That was that entire question. How many marks? Okay, I can't. Okay, let me go back. 5 marks there. 5 easy marks. It's not difficult, okay? So no need to panic. Not difficult at all. So that was the only past paper that tested that thing there. If you would like more questions, you could always ask me and I could give you more questions. But out of all the years, every single past paper, that was the only question that tested arithmetic series. So yeah. Mr. Problem I had was identifying whether it was AP or GP, or you mean identifying what? Like A, D, etc. Are you good now though? Identifying the A and B? Okay, good. Geometric series. So that was arithmetic series, now it's geometric. Sorry for all the people who don't like to memorize. You have to know this. It's actually on the formula sheet. Don't rely on that too much. Just know it, okay? So Sn is equal to a by 1 minus r to the n all over 1 minus r, but r cannot be 1, obviously, because 1 minus 1 is 0, which would make this undefined. Please note, on the formula sheet, or you might have done it like this, a is r n minus 1 on r minus 1. Same thing, right? If you use it like this or like this, you would get the same answer. And I would actually, with this same example, I would actually know with another example with some nicer numbers, because this fraction thing, decimal thing, yeah. But I will show you, it works out. If you use this formula or you use this formula, you will get the same answer, right? Anyways, back to this. A is the first term, that does not change. R is the common ratio, that does not change. N is still the number of terms, it does not change. Example, find the sum to 3 significant figures of the first 7 terms of the GP, 2, 1, a half, etc. First thing you need to do, just like before, you need to identify A and R. So for an AP, whether it's a series or sequence, the first thing you need to do is identify your A and your D. If you don't have A and D, well, you need to go calculate it, right? Whether it's with the two equations or whatever. However, you need to identify A and D. You need to make sure you have that for an AP before you do anything else. For GPs or geometric sequences, You need to identify A and R before you do anything else, right? If they did not give it to you, you might have to use the equations and then divide and all that to find A and R. Moral of the story, you need to get A and R before you do anything else. For APs, A and D before you do anything else. Okay. Now then, identify A and R. A is 2, always the first 2. R, to calculate R, we said before, you can say the second term divided by the first term, or the third term divided by the second term. Doesn't matter, right? Just the quotient of 2 consecutive terms. So T2, which is the second term, is 1. Divided by T1, first term, is 2, is a half. And if I do a half divided by 1, I would still get a half, right? So A is 2 and R is a half. They want me to find the sum of the first 7 terms. So yes, I'm using this formula, but my n would be 7. Substitute all those values into here. A is 2. 1 minus r to the power of n. R is a half, and then we said n is 7. All divided by 1 minus r, so that's 1 minus a half. And they said to 3 significant figures, so you should get the 3.97. Can you tell me to get that? Careful how you put it into the calculator, right? Remember to use your brackets. Just let me know if you get this answer. Anybody who doesn't get it, let me know, right?
I got that.
Okay, that's 1%. 4 more people to go. It's important, you know, to use the calculator before you go into that exam. Miss 1 divided by a half divided by 2 is in 3/4. 1 divided by a half. I don't know what you're talking about. 1 divided by a half. You're talking about for when I'm looking for the common ratio. 1 divided by, no. R is the second term divided by the first term, or the third term divided by the second term. By saying 1 divided by a half, you are saying, hold on, actually, yeah, let me just do this. By saying 1 divided by a half, you are saying the second term divided by the third term. But no, that's not the case. It's the bigger term divided by the smaller term. But let me not say bigger term divided by something. It's T3 divided by T2, not T2 over T3. You understand that? This number needs to be bigger than this number. 3 bigger than 2. So 3 goes on top. You understand that? Yes, no. So it's always the bigger term on top. Well, yeah. You could say it like that. T3 on T2. This number here, this 3, always needs to be bigger than this number here. Just like over here. 2 is bigger than 1. So you cannot come and say the second term divided by the third term. So yeah, always bigger number on top. 3 is bigger than 2. You get that now? Yes, no? Do you understand that? Yes? No? Oh, by the way, did everybody get the 3.97? I need to make sure that you all good with that.
Yes, miss. I got it.
Good. Miss, I divided 2 by 1. Okay, let me write out what I think you have. I'm clearing this, right? Clearing the whole thing. Okay, so what you just typed there, I need to get the chat. I know it has like a box that appears, but I need to see. Let me just put that up here. So what you just typed for me there looks like 2 divided by 1.5. Is that what you have there? 2 divided by 1.5. But this is not 1.5. Probably how I typed it, but this is not 1.5. It's 2, 1.5. Okay, let me write it. Yeah, it's 2, 1.5. Not 1.5. Yeah, it's okay. It's just how I typed it, I guess. But yeah, it's not 1.5. It's 2, 1.5. So you get in the half now when you use the right numbers. Okay, good. Right. So we're moving on now. That's it, right? That's all you have to know for geometric series. Sum of infinity. You need to know this formula. Again, yes, I know it's a lot to know, but with practice, it's okay. It wouldn't feel like you have to memorize anything. Right. So S infinity. So that means the sum of infinity is a on 1 minus r, and this r here is between -1 and 1. So it's greater than -1, but it's less than 1. Again, a still the first term, and r is still the common ratio. Right? So anytime they ask you to find the sum of infinity, this is what you use. Every single time. It does not change. It's either you know it or you don't. So make sure you know it, right? Let's move on. All these past papers now. This is the last set of past papers that you have to do, because even though, okay, just write down the first question while I'm talking. Paper 2, 2016, number 2C. Right. Even though the syllabus requires you to know summation and summation notation and all that, there was only one question out of all these years, one question that tested your knowledge on summation. One. So, Miss, would you post these slides? Yeah, right after I would post this. So we can meet another time to go through summation. But when I'm finished with all these past papers, oh, yeah, that's it. And then the one extra question for summation, we'll do that when I cover summation. But yeah, it was only tested once, right here. This was the only time they tested summation. But it's on the syllabus, so you have to do it, right? But another time for that, another time. Okay, number 2C. A man invested X dollars in a company in January 2010, on which he earns quarterly dividends. At the end of the second, third, and fourth quarter in 2011, he earned $100, $150, and $130 respectively. Calculate the total dividends in his investment by the end of 20. So they love this whole money thing, right? I don't know why, but that's just how it is. Underline all the key information that they gave you. So, so this is This is the AP for one. Second, third, fourth, second, third, fourth, second, third, fourth is 100, 115, 130. They want total that implies SN at the end of 2016. For this question, this one, because I don't want to do everything, you know. Would you like to try it by yourself first? I will give you the option this time. Would you like to try this one by yourself? No.
No, thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, that hurt, I guess.
You know, this question was a bit trickier than the others. Miss, I'm not confident yet. Okay. For anybody who wrote down anything yet, I am sorry. But I don't think you should do this question yet. This question, compared to the others, wasn't straightforward at all. Like you have to go calculate something first. So instead of doing that to you, I would do that question maybe last. And we would do the others now. Hold on. Let me check 2017 to make sure it's a relatively decent question first. But yeah, that 2016 one, compared to the others, not as straightforward at all. Okay, let me look at 2017. How was that? All right, 2017, that was easy. What time will, yeah, 7. I'm finishing it. Oh, wait, it's almost 7. Look at that. Well, anybody else? I don't know. Let me just do this question. I'll figure it out after. So back to this 2017, we finished this first one. We said A, when we worked it out on whatever, A was 48089.04. So we did that whole calculation already, right? Now they want the total salary earned at the end of the contract. The minute you see this word total, SN. For sure, for sure, for sure. Like, no doubt, right? No doubt about it. But you need to know what is N. What is N? So go back to your question. An accountant is offered a 5-year contract. 5-year contract. At the end of the contract was for 5 years. What does that mean? My N is actually 5. Oh, I'll just do it right here. Let me erase. So right, we know we're dealing with SN, and S is 5. I mean, N is 5. So for my GP, you need to remember the formula. Sn is equal to A 1 minus R to the N on 1 minus R. Some people learn it as A by R to the N minus 1 on R minus 1. It does not matter. You would get the same answer, and I would show you. I'd actually show you that, right? So we have our A, but do we have R? No, we do not. We only have A. So in order to use this formula here, we need to go find R. How would we do that? Okay. So this is why I should have done this question together in the end. So before, okay, I know that these are my 2 equations. This R squared is equal to the 5, 3, 9, 8, 2, 8.80. And there was this other equation. This was from before, right? We did this before, 80598.89. Now that I know my value for A, I could actually go find R. Whether I substitute it into this or into this, doesn't matter. Just substitute it somewhere and find your R. So, Or we didn't actually have to do that because before we found that r squared was this fraction here. That's why it would have been better if I did these two parts together. But anyways, can't change that now. So we found out that r squared when we were doing all that, and after we divided the equations and all that, r squared was this fraction here.
Miss, we never do this person already.
Yeah, we're just doing part 2 now.
Oh,
Kind of need part 1 for part 2. That's why I was saying I should have done it together. But so you could just find a value for r here. Right here, you could use the decimal to make it easier when you substitute into this right here. So can you tell me what answer you get for r? So 3 significant figures. What decimal you get?
One 1.06.
1.06. Is everybody getting this? Yes, no?
wait. I get 1.1. Hold on. I think I wrote a different number. Repeat again.
Why do you do that? I'll just continue asking questions. 9, 4,
I get 1.12.
you found the square root of this fraction here. I got 1 point something. Well, 1.1 something. What did you put into the calculator? Yeah, 1.06. Good job. Troy, what did you put into the calculator to get 1.1 something?
I put that 60 over 53, that number.
Yeah, but then you have to square root it.
Square root it.
Yeah, because r squared is equal to this fraction. We don't want r squared, we want r. So you need to square it. Tell me if you get the answer, right? So the people who actually got the 1.06, work out this and tell me what answer you get for S5, which would be the answer.
Oh, I got it. 1.059. So 1.06.
Good. Everybody, wait. Somebody did answer me. Let me call out somebody. Tell me what you get for the answer, right? Careful how you put it into the calculator. You should work out this first, like this bracket, then multiply by this, and then our whole numerator divided by this answer. Oh, less than 1 minute. Just rejoin after this, right? Just to finish up this question.